After losing my parents at a young age, Sam took me in after a car accident. He cared for me in every way, protected me, and gave me a kind of unique favoritism that no one else did. With a young, quietly blooming heart, I decided in secret that one day I would marry him. But years later, when I finally confessed the feelings I had held onto for so long, he looked at me with disgust and said, "Don't cross the line. I've only ever seen you as a sister." He grew distant, and before I could even process the pain, he found himself a girlfriend perhaps to make me give up completely. I gave them my blessings without shedding a scene. When his girlfriend got hungry late at night, I personally made her snacks. When they were being affectionate, I would quietly leave the room. I stopped telling him I loved him. With a broken heart, I let go of everything I had once hoped for. I made the decision to leave his life for good and prepared to marry a handsome, wealthy man. But just then, Sam came running after me, begging me not to marry someone else, blaming himself for not realizing his feelings sooner. Chapter 1. Roma, Grandma has already met that boy Eric. If you marry him, you'll be treated well. As for your studies, you can discuss them with your fiancé. Your brother is also getting married. Grandma has prepared a new home for you. Move out during this time, so you don't interfere with your brother and sister-in-law's newlywed life. Grandma's words still echoed in my ears as I lowered my gaze and quietly replied, "Grandma, I've already found a place. I'll move in 3 days. Don't worry." She seemed relieved and smiled, reminding me not to forget tomorrow's blind date before hanging up the phone. The butler, Mario, handed me a glass of water, his voice filled with concern. "Actually, sir has always cared a lot about you. I remember when you had stomach pain and were hospitalized, rushed back to the country, ignoring a billion-dollar contract just to be there for you. And during that car accident, he turned the steering wheel abruptly just to shield you, willing to injure himself rather than let you get a single scratch. How could someone like that not have feelings for you? If you move out and agree to this arranged marriage without telling him, he might be extremely upset." Mario's slightly hoarse voice pulled my mind back to 7 years ago. I was an orphan. At 15, I accidentally ran in front of Sam's car. Not only did he take me to get checked at the hospital, he also brought me home. From that day on, I became Sam's adopted sister, the crown prince of the capital, and I, the only princess in his home. Some people mocked me, saying I was just a fake princess, a girl whose parents had died. But every time that happened, Sam would come back no matter where he was, and teach those bullies a lesson, then gently pat my head and say, "You're not an orphan. I'll always be your family, and you'll always be my treasure." After the college entrance exams, when he nearly lost his life saving me, I confessed my love to him directly. I thought we would have a happy ending. I believed he felt the same. But that day, his amber eyes were full of disappointment and frustration. "Roma, stop talking nonsense. I'll always be your brother." I refused to believe he didn't love me. We weren't even related by blood, so why couldn't we be together? I kept chasing him, but all I did was strain our relationship further and pushed him into finding a girlfriend quickly. Mario never liked her. He always showed more affection toward me and used to comfort me, saying, "Miss, you've already proposed to him 99 times. Though he's refused each one. Maybe if you try just one more time he'll finally say yes." I thought of Eva's social media post from 2 months ago. Chapter 2. That day, Sam succeeded in his proposal. The ground was covered in Juliet roses, and that cold, refined man held a ring as he stood framed perfectly in the lens of her camera. Those were my favorite roses, and he was the man I loved most. But now both belonged to someone else. From that day on, I decided to let go of the man I had loved for 7 years. I was just too naive before. Now that my brother's getting married, I should give him my blessings. Besides, you know I'm an orphan. Getting the opportunity to study abroad and change my fate is something I must cherish. And the suitor Grandma introduced, he's not bad at all. The Sam family has cared for me for many years. This marriage is a way to repay their kindness and build a future for myself. Mario looked at me with pain in his eyes, as if he wanted to say something. But I smiled and said, "Mario, this is a good thing. Please keep my departure a secret for now. I'll find the right time to tell my brother myself." Once I handled all the details of this arranged marriage, it would finally be time to leave for good. That night, Sam came home with Eva and handed me a bracelet. His expression remained indifferent. "Happy birthday." Eva stroked the diamond necklace around her neck and smiled at me. This bracelet was a gift from Sam last year. I never wore it, and 2 days ago he gave me a custom-designed one, so I thought I'd give this to you. I remember you like Juliet Rosesso think of it as borrowing flowers to worship the Buddha. Today was my 22nd birthday. Ever since Sam took me in, he had celebrated every one of my birthdays with me. Even when I upset him, he always prepared a surprise in advance. He always spoiled me. But ever since I confessed my feelings to him, everything had changed. He kept his distance, and my birthday gift this year was simply something his girlfriend left behind. I accepted it and forced a smile. "Thank you, brother and sister." "Don't mention it. I'll be your sister-in-law soon, after all," Eva said, turning around and wrapping her arm around Sam's, clinging tightly to him. The man who used to keep his distance from women didn't show the slightest sign of rejection, and the woman in his arms gave me a sweet smile. In 3 days, Sam will be coming to my house to discuss the wedding date. "Roma, you should come too. You're the little sister he loves the most. I even heard that he chose your university just to keep you close, because he couldn't bear the thought of you being far away. You should be part of his wedding planning too." A sharp pain pierced through my heart. So in just 3 days, they'd be discussing their wedding. Perfect. That was the same day I planned to leave. He would walk toward his happiness, and I would walk toward my future. I lowered my gaze and gave a cold smile. "Congratulations to both of you, but I have something that day and won't be able to attend." Sam looked at me. "You seem down. Are you feeling unwell?" His concern caught me off guard. Ever since I confessed, his attention toward me had been so limited, like he was scared of sending the wrong signal. This was one of the rare times he showed concern. But Eva looked at me with an exaggerated expression of pity. She must be exhausted from failing her graduate school entrance exams. It's hard to get into a good program. Maybe you should lower your standards a bit and apply to universities in other provinces. With your ability, you'd get in easily. Before I could reply, Sam frowned. "No, don't do that. If she goes to another province, I won't be able to take care of her. If it's getting hard, do you want me to arrange a tutor for you?" No matter how much we argued, he always thought of me. He never wanted me to go too far, as if afraid that once I left his reach, I'd get hurt. I used to think that was love. Now I know it was just brotherly care. Chapter 3. My lashes trembled slightly. "I don't need a tutor. Let me take my time with the exams. I'm already 22, I can make my own decisions." His expression darkened slightly. Eva looked at him, then smiled at me and told me to make sure I rested well. She looped her arms around Sam's neck and began to pout sweetly. "Come on, Sam. If she can't pass, let her rest. Why are you pushing her so hard? I'm so tired from shopping today. Carry me upstairs to rest, please." Sam said nothing, just picked Eva up in his arms and went upstairs without looking back. I stood at the bottom of the staircase, watching the couple so intimately close, and a wave of bitterness quickly flooded my chest. What a perfect couple. I lowered my head, looked at the birthday gift in my hands, and made a silent wish. May Sam live a peaceful life and be happy forever. After closing the door to my room, I began to pack. After living in Sam's house for so many years, I had accumulated so many things, especially the gifts he had given me, which filled an entire wardrobe. I didn't take any of them. I only packed the items I used regularly. The next day, I met with a Rick me blind date as planned. There were rumors that he was a notorious playboy, changing girlfriends more often than his clothes. His family had forced him to study abroad, hoping it would correct his habits. From afar, I saw him lounging on the sofa in a private lounge, his legs crossed, radiating a relaxed and careless aura. He was extremely handsome, the perfect prototype of a rich and handsome guy. When he saw me, he didn't seem the least bit surprised by who I was. Casually, he said, "Miss Roma, you're as beautiful as I like." I sat down across from him and got straight to the point. "If you have no objections to me, let's finalize the details of the arranged marriage and talk about our study plans in London after the wedding." Eric raised an eyebrow, amused. "A well-behaved, studious girl?" I responded firmly, "My studies won't interfere with your personal life." His brow furrowed slightly as he asked, If your husband had an affair, would that not bother you? I shook my head. This is only a marriage of convenience. There was a time when Sam's affection had blinded me, but now I understood. As an orphan who would be homeless without the Sam family, my priority was to work hard and build a better life for myself. A flicker of emotion crossed Eric's eyes, something I couldn't quite read. There was a faint trace of displeasure, but it was too subtle for me to fully grasp. "Are you still living with Sam?" he asked. "Move in and live with me instead." I agreed. "I still have a few things left to pack. Come pick me up the day after tomorrow," I said with a smile, and we started going over our plans to study in London. Everything was already arranged, but the trip depended on finalizing the marriage agreement between our families first. It surprised Mehe seemed more eager to get married than I was. That night, Eric drove me home. When I turned around, I saw Sam standing at the edge between the darkness of the night and the golden glow of the lights. His expression was cold and serious, making his features appear even sharper. He walked toward me with a deep frown. "When did you meet Eric?" Sam had always been hypersensitive and guarded when it came to the people I interacted with, especially men. I didn't want him to know about the arranged marriage yet, so I downplayed it. "We just ran into each other. His car had a flat tire, and I helped him call a tow truck. He's just taking me to dinner the day after tomorrow to thank me." Sam's expression softened slightly, like he was relieved. "He's a womanizer with a terrible reputation. Don't get involved with him again," he warned. "And you got home really late today. It's already 11. Don't let that happen again. There wouldn't be a next time." The day after tomorrow, I'd be gone for good. But I still replied, "Okay." As I walked into the foyer, I wondered how I should say goodbye. I had grown up under his protection. I had never truly been away from him. He wanted me to stay in the country for my graduate studies, preferably somewhere close to him. I finally gathered the courage to speak. "Brother, you and Eva are getting married soon, so I wanted," but before I could finish, he frowned deeply and cut me off harshly. "Stop. Don't cross the line." Sam's eyes locked onto mine, filled with disgust and disappointment. "My marriage to Eva has nothing to do with you. You don't need to care, and you definitely shouldn't interfere. There will never be anything between us." I froze where I stood, my face draining of color. I realized how much my feelings had pressured him. Just then, Eva appeared at the top of the stairs, gracefully descending in a silky nightgown. "Sam, you're back." I suddenly have a craving for cherry tart, but the maid's already gone to bed. "Roma, could you make it for me, please?" Chapter 4. I had only learned to make that dessert because Sam liked it. Feeling drained, I gently declined. "I'm a bit tired. Maybe we can order it for delivery." Eva quickly came down the stairs and clung to Sam's arm, pouting playfully. Sam rubbed his temples, his voice carrying a note of irritation. "Eva rarely has cravings. Just make it." Sam had never asked me to cook before, especially not late at night when I was exhausted, and definitely not for someone else. He had always been the one taking care of me. When I had stomach aches, he would spend hours cooking porridge for me. When he thought I might be bored, he'd look up new recipes just to surprise me. And whenever I offered to help, he'd gently stop me and say, "Your hands were made to play piano, not cook." Even now, my hands were still soft and unblemished, perfect for the piano, but this time, he was making me cook for someone else. I pressed my lips together. Understood. Sam went upstairs to shower, and Eva followed me into the kitchen. As I kneaded the dough, she touched it with her fingers and let out a mocking giggle. "Roma, I know you like Sam, but he and I are the perfect match. Our family's interests are tied together, and you're just an orphan with nowhere to go. Without Sam, you'd have ended up on the streets long ago." Her eyes turned colder as she pressed down harder on the dough. "Grandma likes me. So do my grandparents. Our engagement was set a long time ago. Sam loves Mehe, takes me home, and stays the night. You know what that means, right? We're adults. Who knows? Maybe I'm already carrying his child. He's done everything for you all these years, but is he your father? You've wasted so much of his time, and now you want to keep wasting it? How shameless. If you had any dignity, you would have left this house a long time ago. Just seeing you annoys me." My pupils shrank. I had always sensed her hostility, but she had hidden it well until now, when her mask finally dropped. "I'm sorry," I whispered. I'll leave. I won't bother you anymore. Eva laughed mockingly. Since you've finally decided to go, let me help you understand the difference between us more clearly. Before I could react, she deliberately poured boiling water onto her hand. I froze, completely shocked. The sudden noise brought Sam rushing down the stairs fresh from the shower. Eva put on a pained expression and whimpered weakly. Sam, Roma accidentally knocked over the pot. Don't blame her, she's just tired. I'm fine. Tears rolled down her cheeks like pearls on a broken string, and Sam's eyes filled with worry as he cradled her. My mind was a mess. I tried to explain quickly. It wasn't me. But then, a loud slap cracked through the room. The sting on my cheek burned, shattering what was left of my already broken heart. Roma, when did you become so cruel? You make a mistake and don't even admit it. Pick me up the day after tomorrow, I said with a smile, and we began discussing our study plans for London. I had everything prepared, but the trip hinged on us finalizing the marriage arrangement between our families. What surprised me was how eager Eric seemed to get married, more eager than I was. That night, Eric drove me home. As I turned around, I saw Sam standing at the threshold where darkness met the warm glow of the villa lights. His expression was cold and stern, making his features look sharper than ever. He walked toward me with a deep frown. When did you meet Eric? Sam had always been extremely sensitive and vigilant about the people I spent time with, especially men. I didn't want him to know about the arranged marriage just yet, so I kept it vague. We met by chance. His car had a flat tire, and I helped him call a tow truck. He's just inviting me to dinner the day after tomorrow to thank me. His expression softened a little, seemingly relieved. He's a notorious womanizer with a terrible reputation. Don't see him again, he warned. And you came home too late, it's already 11. Don't let it happen again. There wouldn't be another time. The day after tomorrow, I'd be gone for good. Still, I replied quietly, okay. As I walked into the house, I kept thinking about how to say goodbye. I had grown up under his protection and had never truly left him. He had always wanted me to stay in the country for graduate school, preferably close by. I finally gathered my courage. Brother, you and Eva are getting married soon, so I wanted, but before I could finish, he furrowed his brows and cut me off sharply. Stop. Don't cross the line. His eyes pierced through me, filled with disgust and disappointment. My marriage to Eva has nothing to do with you. You don't need to worry, and you certainly don't need to interfere. There will never be anything between us. I froze on the spot, my face instantly pale. It hit me then just how much pressure my feelings had put on him. At that moment, Eva appeared at the top of the stairs, descending gracefully in a silky nightgown. Sam, you're back. I suddenly have a craving for cherry tart, but the maid's already asleep. Roma, could you make it for me? Chapter 5. I had learned to make that dessert only because Sam liked it. Feeling drained, I declined politely. I'm a little tired. Maybe we can order it. Eva hurried down the stairs and clung to Sam's arm, pouting sweetly. Sam rubbed his temples, and his voice hinted at irritation. Eva rarely has cravings. Just make it. Sam had never asked me to cook, especially not when I was exhausted, and certainly not for someone else. He had always taken care of me. When I had stomach pain, he'd spend hours making porridge. When he thought I was bored, he'd find new recipes to cheer me up. Every time I tried to help, he'd stop me gently. Your hands are made for the piano, not the kitchen. Even now, my hands were still perfect for the piano, yet here he was, asking me to cook for his fiancée. I pressed my lips together. Understood. Sam went upstairs to shower, and Eva followed me into the kitchen. While I kneaded the dough, she touched it with her fingers and let out a mocking laugh. Roma, I know you like Sam, but he and I are the perfect match. Our families are connected. And you're just an orphan with nowhere to go. Without Sam, you'd have ended up on the streets long ago. Her gaze turned colder as she pressed harder into the dough. Grandma likes me. My grandparents love Sam. Our engagement was arranged long ago. He loves me. He brings me home and stays the night. You know what that means, right? Maybe I'm already pregnant with his child. He's done everything for you all these years, but is he your father? You've already wasted so much of his time. And now you want more? How shameless. If you had any dignity, you would have left a long time ago. Honestly, just seeing you disgusts me. My pupils shrank. I had always sensed her hostility, but she had hidden it well until now. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'll leave. I won't bother you again. Eva let out a mocking laugh. Well then, let me help you see the difference between us more clearly. Before I could react, she deliberately spilled boiling water on her hand. I froze in shock. The loud sound immediately caught Sam's attention, and he rushed down the stairs after a shower. Eva wore an expression of pain and whimpered. Sam Roma accidentally knocked over the pot. Don't blame her. She's tired. I'm fine. Her tears flowed like pearls, and Sam's face twisted with worry as he held her. My mind was spinning. I tried to explain. It wasn't me. Suddenly, a loud slap echoed in the kitchen. The sting on my cheek burned like fire, shattering what was left of my already broken heart. Roma, when did you become so cruel? You made a mistake and still won't admit it. Your sister-in-law didn't even blame you, and yet you won't apologize? Sam's voice was cold and furious. How could I have raised someone like you? Stay in your room and reflect on your behavior. I felt like I was trapped in a frozen chamber, my body going numb as I watched Sam carry Eva in his arms. She leaned on him weakly, then looked back at me with a cold, triumphant smile. Her words echoed in my head. I wiped the blood slowly trickling from the corner of my lips and let out a bitter laugh as tears streamed down my face. I finally understood the difference between us. There was no comparison. I went upstairs, packed my belongings, and burned every useless memory along with the love I had held for Sam for 7 years. I tried calling him all night 100 times. He didn't answer once. I never got the chance to explain or say goodbye. I sat awake until dawn.
He didn't come back.
The bitterness in my chest deepened. I took the household registration book and independently removed my name. Then I sent Sam a message. Can you come home? I need to talk to you. He called back immediately, his tone icy. Didn't you cause enough trouble for Eva last night? If you pull another stunt today, I'll give you 100 exam prep books to finish. Hearing his anger, I chose not to explain Eva's trap. I replied softly, I don't want to bother you. I just want to thank you for taking care of me all these years. I'm leaving the house today. I wish you and your wife a long and happy life together. I'm going abroad, and we probably won't see each other again. If you have time, bring her home for lunch with me. Let's meet at noon. There was a long silence before I realized had hung up. My chest tightened. I looked down and quietly began preparing a full table of food. Noon came, but no one arrived. I checked social media. Sam had gone to Eva's house to discuss wedding plans. I looked at the untouched dishes on the table. It's okay. I won't bother you on my last day here. I ate a small portion and then placed all the savings I had accumulated over the year's scholarships, competition price on the table. 1 million yuan. Not much, but with the dowry from the arranged marriage worth 10 million, it would more than cover the cost of raising me. I had repaid my debt. I sent one last message. I won't bother you anymore, Sam. With my suitcase in hand, I left the villa. Eric's luxury car was already waiting outside. He wore a custom-tailored suit. I looked at him and asked, Is today a good day to get married? Eric raised an eyebrow, confused. In such a rush? I'm in a hurry to go study abroad. His eyes darkened slightly, but then he chuckled softly. All right. But I fear when we get to the registry, you'll back out. I pulled out my household registration and ID, handing them over. Let's go. Let's get married. Eric was in a great mood the whole ride. But when we arrived at the registry, we were both stunned. It was Valentine's Day and the office was packed with couples registering their marriages. Eric tried talking to the officials, trying to cut the line, but he was firmly rejected. His good mood disappeared instantly. His shoulders slumped, and he looked like a sad, drenched puppy. There are too many people, I said hesitantly. Maybe we should schedule for tomorrow morning? Eric shook his head and pressed forward but ended up bumping into someone. When I saw who it was, my heart sank and my first instinct was to flee. Sam stared at us in disbelief. What are you doing here? I tried to come up with an excuse, but Eric spoke first. What about you two? Are you here to get married too? Sam ignored him and looked straight at me, his face tightening in fury. Roma, explain. Why are you here with him? Didn't you say you barely knew Eric? This is what you call barely knowing someone? You're already at the marriage registry? The atmosphere around him was suffocating. His presence always made me feel small. I lowered my head like a guilty schoolgirl. He hadn't seen my message. Eric stepped in front of me, staring Sam down. Why does Roma owe you an explanation? Who are you to her? Sam's face darkened even more. Just as he was about to respond, Eva chimed in sweetly. Sam's just worried about Roma's her older brother. Who knows what kind of people she might meet? It's all for her own good. Her voice was sugary, but her words were a death sentence. She had painted me as the irresponsible little sister who made her brother worry with poor choices. Her words stung. Sam remained silent, his overwhelming presence making me want to run. Eric held my hand and stood firmly at my side, letting out a cold laugh. You're not married to Sam yet, right? Are you just practicing to be his obedient wife? Doesn't Roma even have the freedom to choose who she associates with? Sam, if you're so controlling, why don't you try controlling Eva better? Her mouth is nothing but that of an old green tea, I said with a sideways glance at Eric, who in that moment looked even more attractive. Eva's face immediately changed. The calm, gentle woman vanished. She pointed a finger at Eric, about to insult him. Does the truth hurt? You haven't even entered the family yet, so don't meddle in other people's business. Don't act like no one here can make decisions. And don't you dare sow discord. The world would be much more peaceful without you. Until now, I'd only known Eric as carefree and somewhat immature, but I hadn't expected him to be so sharp with words. I was stunned. Eva completely lost her composure, exploding with rage. You can't expect anything decent from Eric, she shouted. Then she looked at me, with contempt. You and Roma are the same. Neither of you is fit for society. Sam frowned and shot a quick glance at Eva. But Eric, full of confidence, countered without hesitation. What does Roma have to do with this? I've been your brother's friend for years. Do you think I don't know enough about your family? Do you really think you're special? If it weren't for your constant pretending to be the perfect daughter-in-law in front of Grandma, do you think you'd have married him? The atmosphere in the marriage registry office changed completely. Most of the couples who had come with hopes of marriage now looked at us with curiosity. Sam stayed silent, letting Eric humiliate Eva without intervening. Instead, he looked at me with a dark expression so intense it seemed he could write big letters on his face with ink. Roma, come back home with me. Finally, Sam spoke. It was not a request, but an order. His face, once elegant and serene, was now distorted with rage. There was no trace left of the kind and refined man I remembered. I felt a strange sensation in my chest as if I were looking at a complete stranger. I squeezed Eric's hand tightly to stay calm and answered loudly. I already moved out of your house. I looked at Eric, and he returned my gaze with a soft smile, giving me strength to take this step. Eric is my fiancé. Grandma has already approved our marriage. We're here today to get married. Brother, now you're getting married, and so am I. We've both found our paths and fulfilled our wishes. From now on, we will go our separate ways. Chapter 6. The spark of hope in Sam's eyes crumbled. He looked at me confused, as if he couldn't understand why I was acting this way. I had always been the obedient one who never questioned anything. If he said 1, I would never say 2. But now, I was holding another man's hand, telling him I had a fiancé. I didn't even know when this engagement had been arranged. His years of control over me had just been challenged. After saying those words, I paid no attention to Sam's reaction and turned around, taking Eric with me. We took a few steps before Sam finally reacted. He threw the documents in his hand to the floor and roared like a final warning. Roma, you chose this path yourself. Don't regret it later. I wouldn't regret it. Eric, who had always been mischievous and carefree, was surprisingly docile. He let me lead as we walked toward the exit without protest. Once in the car, I looked at my ID and sighed. Sorry we couldn't get married today. Eric laughed carelessly. I didn't expect so many people or to run into Sam and Eva. Definitely a bad day according to the calendar. Where do you want to go now? Eric asked, turning the steering wheel with one hand and driving calmly. Rumors said Eric liked to speed and scare his dates until they cried. but his calm, steady driving showed the rumors weren't always true. "Take me home. I need to put away my things. I'm hungry. Why don't we eat first?" Before I could reply, Eric turned and drove to a private restaurant. The place was elegant and sophisticated, with a pure white grand piano in the center. We sat facing each other, waiting for our food. The silence between us grew heavy. "Tell me what you're thinking," I finally said. "You've been holding it in since we left the registry." Eric scratched his nose, clearly caught off guard. "It's nothing important. I just didn't want you to feel bad after seeing those two. Who hasn't loved the wrong person when they were young? The important thing is to see the truth and move forward. There's always someone better waiting for you." His words were full of the wisdom of someone who'd learned from life, and I couldn't help but smile softly.
"I'm okay," he replied gently.
"He's not bad. He just didn't love me. Sorry for dragging you into this today. I'm your fiancé." "It's my duty," Eric said, resting his chin on his hand and looking at me as if I were his muse. I turned my head slightly and caught his gaze. In his sincere eyes, I saw a reflection of myself. Eric stood up and extended his hand. "Would you honor me by playing a song with me on the piano?" I placed my hand in his, and together we sat before the piano. The notes of Liszt's Liebestrom filled the air, and everyone around watched us. I remember my graduation day. I had played this very piece in front of the whole school, my best performance. But when I stepped down from the stage, Sam was no longer in the audience. When we finished, Eric, sitting beside me, said softly, "No time is wasted without reason. Don't blame yourself for your past." I looked at him, and he couldn't help but laugh. The seriousness on his face melted into a warm smile. He laughed, and I laughed along. Then he looked away, and before he turned, I noticed the blush on his ears. On the way home, Eric was in better spirits than when we had gone to the registry office. But just as I was about to get out of the car, he said, "I know you have feelings for him. I also know marrying me wasn't your choice. We haven't registered the marriage yet, so you still have options. I think it's better to wait. To wait until we are better versions of ourselves, after seeing more of the world, meeting more people, and gaining new experiences. Then if after all that, we still believe we are the best choice for each other, we'll get married. I'll give you the dowry. If after your studies and success, you decide you no longer want me as your husband, you can return the money. What do you think?" I looked at him, surprised. Behind his carefree facade, I never imagined he could be so deep and considerate. Suddenly, my feelings toward him became complicated. "If you agree, I will be grateful," he added with a soft but serious look. The car moved slowly through traffic, stopping at a red light. "Either way, it's fine with me," he said calmly. Instead of taking me to his home, Eric dropped me off at one of his properties and then left. As I dragged my suitcase inside, my phone rang. It was Sam's grandmother. "Roma." Her voice lacked the cheerful tone of recent days. "Sam has disappeared." My eyelid twitched. Disappeared? What happened? Sam was supposed to finalize his engagement today, but something had gone wrong. Eva returned alone and said Sam left her halfway and ran off. No one could find him. The engagement was still not confirmed, and no one knew where he had gone. "Can you try to contact him?" Chapter 7. Before Sam's grandmother finished speaking, I felt someone approach from behind. The next moment, my phone was snatched from my hand, and the call abruptly cut off as I was pushed against the wall. I opened my mouth to scream, but a warm hand covered my lips, muffling the sound. My eyes widened as I saw Sam so close that I could notice every detail of his skin, his long lashes, the heat of his body, and the rhythm of his breath. I pushed him with all my strength. Sam, clearly drunk, staggered backward and leaned against the wall, defeated. I wiped my lips furiously while tears threatened to fall. I had never felt so humiliated. "Sam, how did you know I was here?" I asked. "I installed a tracker on your phone. I knew you went to dinner with Eric and played piano with him. That song. You played it before at your graduation ceremony. You played it for me, didn't you? So, I knew everything. I was just pretending to be ignorant." Seeing that I didn't respond, Sam lowered his head in defeat. "Roma, I know everything. I understand," he murmured. "You're going to marry Eric because Grandma arranged it." "Yes." "So what?" Suddenly, Sam lifted his head and wrapped me in his arms, holding me tightly. I know it's all for Grandma, but you can't marry Eric. He's not a good man.
Roma, marry me.
I'll take care of Grandma and everything else. You just have to be my wife. I managed to escape his embrace, opened a bottle of water, and poured half over his head. The drunkenness seemed to partially clear, and he looked at me incredulously, his hair soaked. Roma, are you sober now? Do you even know what you're saying? You want to marry me? Do you think Grandma will accept this? What about the collaboration with Eva's family? Do you think you could show your face in society after this? You're letting the alcohol take over. Have you thought about the consequences of your words? Sam didn't expect my resistance, much less that I would scold him, the obedient girl he raised who always followed his orders. He lunged at me again, kissing me, but I turned my face, and his lips grazed my cheek. Then his teeth sank into my skin like a wolf punishing a rebellious pack member. The pain made me react, and I slapped him. You're completely crazy, I shouted. Sam touched the part of his face where I hit him and, to my surprise, began to laugh. I'm not crazy. When I found out you were going to marry Eric, I realized how much I love you. Roma, I want to marry you. I can fix everything, he said quickly, as if afraid I would interrupt. I always thought you were too young, and that there was an age gap. I was the one who decided to adopt you, and to everyone else, we're like siblings. How can siblings be together? It's unacceptable. That's why I avoided you, afraid I'd fall in love with you. But now, I deeply regret it. We have no blood ties. Why can't we be together? We love each other. We should get married. Sam's eyes were almost delirious, his gaze obsessive. I can't watch you ruin yourself with Eric. You'll come with me. He staggered and dropped to his knees. He pulled out a small ring box and looked at me with hopeful eyes. Seeing him so vulnerable and desperate, all I felt was bitter irony. Who would have imagined that Sam, the powerful leader of the most exclusive circle in the capital, would one day be begging like this? And the greatest irony was proposing to the very girl he once rejected like a plague. Sam, why do you think I'm still here waiting for you? Why do you think I still love you? You say Eric isn't a good man, but Eric respects me, works hard for me, and defends me. That's enough. Unlike you, who just watch from the sidelines, deciding what's best for me without ever asking what I want. Love isn't a requirement for marriage, but with Eric, I know love will come. Sam's body slid slowly down the wall until he was sitting on the floor. He reached a hand toward me, his eyes pleading. He didn't want to believe my words, but deep down, he knew they were true. For the first time in his life, Sam faced failure. The moment you decided to distance yourself from me was the moment we lost any chance, I said firmly. But Sam wasn't ready to give up. That was because he didn't understand his own feelings. He didn't know how much he loved me. The moon can't reflect your true feelings, Eric said mockingly from behind Sam. How can an adult not understand his own heart? Eric stepped forward and placed me behind him, looking at Sam with pity. Sam, the fact that Roma wasn't your first choice already shows you thought through the pros and cons before deciding. This "I didn't know I loved you" speech is just an excuse to cover up your indecision and selfishness. Now that you see your plan didn't work, you're just making another choice. Chapter 8. Every time Eric argued, his charm seemed to reach its peak. I looked at him, then followed his gaze to Sam, who frowned deeply. What are you doing here? I asked. I saw Sam's car outside the window. I wasn't at ease, so I came to check if you were okay. Seeing how natural our interaction was, almost intimate, the light in Sam's eyes slowly faded until only defeat remained. Eric dealt the final blow. If you have no more business here, please leave. My fiancé needs rest. Sam's eyes reflected deep desolation. He looked stunned, then got up and headed to the door. He stumbled awkwardly before leaving. He came back looking for me a month later. At that time, I was preparing to go abroad to study. Eric was lying on my sofa with his cat in his arms, watching TV, when the doorbell rang urgently. When I opened the door, I saw Sam with a desperate expression. He barely looked at me and handed me his ID. Roma, let's get married. I've already canceled the engagement. Nothing stops us from being together now. Eric put an arm around me and gently pushed Sam back. Why do you keep harassing my fiancé? Eric said firmly. Just as he finished, a female figure charged toward us. Before I could react, Eric wrapped his arms around me, protecting me. His usually calm face was pale, and his breathing was heavy. When I touched his back, I felt something warm. Looking at my hand, it was covered in blood. Sam had already knocked the woman down. Only then did I realize it was Eva. Her face was twisted with madness as she laughed hysterically and shouted at me. Roma, I'm going to kill you.
Why?
Why have I never been anything to Sam? He's never seen me. He canceled the engagement, and now I'm the laughingstock of the whole capital. As long as you live, I'll never have Sam's heart. I had no interest in their childish fights about who loved whom. Sam grabbed Eva tightly and asked sternly, How did you know Roma was here? Eva let out a mocking laugh. Sam, did you think you were the only one who could put a tracker on her? If I found you, I'd find that bitch Roma. I'd kill her, and then you'd be mine, only mine. They were both completely crazy. I quickly called an ambulance and took Eric to the hospital. Before leaving, I looked at Sam. He was crouched on the floor, restraining Eva. For the first time, I saw him from this angle. His eyes were full of remorse, inner struggle, and bitter acceptance of defeat. He knew exactly how this would end. Sam, I said softly, Eva is guilty of intentional assault. I'm going to report her to the police. I hope you won't protect her. Sam's lips moved as if he wanted to say something, but finally only sighed. Don't worry. I'll make sure she goes to jail, he whispered. Eric's injury wasn't fatal, but it wasn't minor either. Eva had stabbed his back with all her strength. Sam kept his promise. He called the police, and Eva was arrested. Neither the pleas of her grandmother nor her family changed his mind. The engagement between the families was officially canceled. Chapter 9. After that, Sam nearly disappeared from my life, completely. I was too busy. After that night at the private restaurant, the video of Eric and me playing piano went viral. I and the video. We sat side by side, and the notes flowed from our hands like a gentle river, touching the hearts of everyone listening. Viewers were enchanted by our rendition of Liebstrom, believing Eric and I were the perfect couple. Once they discovered our identities, they gave us a couple's nickname and created multiple fan forums dedicated to us. Thanks to that momentum, when I went abroad to study, I caught the attention of talent scouts. I balanced my studies with my debut in the entertainment industry as a singer. I debuted at the top, and my career took off quickly. Every song I released went viral almost instantly, and soon people of all ages were humming my melodies. In less than 3 years, I won major awards and became the youngest singer to earn the title of Pop Diva. No one called me Sam's adopted orphan anymore. I was simply Roma, the Queen of Pop. Sam's name faded from my life. Except for annual visits to his grandmother, I hardly saw him. In the end, Eric and I never officially married. He was busy these years too. Eric's family, like mine, was once a nest of conflict. His carefree playboy facade was merely a strategy to protect himself and stay under the radar until the right moment. In recent years, chaos erupted in his family, and Eric returned to fight for his inheritance. Before leaving, he clung to me, whining for me not to forget him. No matter how busy he was, he always made time to attend my concerts. Every time I stepped off the stage, he was the first person I saw. Fans online constantly pressured us to get married. Some even changed their usernames to things like, "Did Eric and Roma get married today?" After a fierce family battle, Eric emerged victorious and became the new head of his family. Under his leadership, the business prospered, and his family even began to surpass Sam's. Every time Eric negotiated a deal, he specifically sought projects related to Sam and made sure to outdo him. I saw Sam once at a social gathering, where I accompanied Eric. Sam was with his secretary. When he saw me, he was chatting with others about business. I passed by him, gave a polite, distant smile, and nodded before continuing on my way. When my contract with my former agency ended, Eric quickly acquired a talent management company and signed me as his only artist. With effort, I rose to the pinnacle of the entertainment world, winning awards non-stop. But there was one major award I had yet to win. In my 5th year as a singer, I won a Grammy. When the announcer called my name, I was completely surprised. I slowly walked up the stairs, trying to calm myself. At each step, I noticed Juliet roses scattered on the floor, guiding me toward the stage. When I reached the stage, the flowers around me formed a sea of roses. Eric, dressed in an elegant suit, emerged from the flowers, his charming eyes shining as he looked at me. He held a bouquet of Juliet roses and knelt on one knee, presenting a ring. "I followed your advice," he said softly. "I've spent these years traveling with you, seeing the world, meeting new people. I've been at the top, surrounded by luxury and fame. And after all that, I'm sure of one thing. You are the best choice of my life. Since I met you, every moment of my life has been happy. Roma, am I your best choice?" I looked at him, and we both began to cry like fools. Holding the award and bouquet in my left hand, I extended my right toward him. "Eric, let's face the challenges of the future together." The auditorium erupted into applause. Eric stood up and embraced me tightly, crying, leaving behind his image as a ruthless businessman. The news of Eric's engagement spread rapidly online. Fans of our couple declared it a holiday, and content creations flooded the internet. Lying on the sofa, I watched Eric book our appointment to register our marriage. I thought about the last time we tried to marry. I gently nudged him with my foot. "It's Valentine's Day again. Are you sure we can get married this time?" Eric grabbed my foot, pretending to kiss it, but I pulled away quickly and shot him a warning look. He laughed, took my hand, and kissed it softly. "Don't worry, darling. This time, nothing can go wrong."